So I've been using ChatGPT for over a year now, and I recently realized that I've been doing it completely wrong this entire time. I was sitting there typing write me an email or get me some ideas, and then I was wondering why the output was so generic, useless, and practically shit. It was basically what everyone else was getting. But then I stumbled upon these 5 techniques that actually changed the entire way my ChatGPT worked. And I'm not even exaggerating. My output went from this to actual this. And I was there like, wait, ChatGPT can do this? So in this video, I'm going to show you what I was doing wrong and maybe you are also doing it wrong and how you can fix it with these 5 simple techniques. Because honestly, if you're still using ChatGPT like a Google search engine, man, you're missing out on everything. And it is basically like driving a Ferrari on the first gear. So let's change that. And just stick around because number 5 literally just blew my mind as how good it was. So well guys, my name is Vasu. Welcome to Figure with Vasu, and in the second episode of Making Life Easy with AI, मैं आपको बताने वाला हूँ how you can actually implement these 5 simple techniques which can make your productivity go maximum. So technique number 1 is give it identity and not just instructions. Let's suppose मेरा एक product है जो कि कॉफी मग है, एंड अगर मुझे उसके लिए मार्केटिंग ईमेल लिखनी है तो मैं पहले ChatGPT पे जाता था एंड आई यूज्ड टू राइट मी एन मार्केटिंग ईमेल फॉर माय प्रोडक्ट कॉफी मग, एंड आई यूज्ड टू गेट दिस आउटपुट. It is super formal, super generic, and it is basically like every single mail that you get in your spam folder, spitting out that it is written by AI. And I accepted this fact that शायद ChatGPT लिखता ही ऐसे, but मैं बिल्कुल गलत था because now I do this. So in this prompt, you can see the 4 major components. First is the identity, second is the context, third is the specific constraints, and fourth is a clear CTA. So in the identity, I told him who he is, that is an expert email copywriter. In the context, I told him who I am talking to and what am I selling. In specific constraints, I listed out the tone, length, and the structure. And finally, I told him to give a clear CTA, and this produces this output. So now you see how good this output is. The subject line is very catchy, structs the pain point, gives the solution, and the overall tone of this mail is so conversational. Like you can use this email for an actual marketing campaign with just some minor tweaks. And that's what we actually want to do. So you just have to remember that you have to tell the model who he is before telling what to do. And this is going to change your game entirely. The second technique is show it your voice, and this one is actually very powerful. So you might know that ChatGPT has a very default writing style that is very ChatGPT-ish. Like, you know what I mean. It's polished but soulless. And for the longest time, I again accepted this that it is the way it writes. But then I learned this trick. So instead of giving it a prompt like write 5 social media posts about AI tools, which is going to give you this output, yeah, nobody is going to stop their doom scrolling just to read this. You can actually give it this input. So in this input, I actually asked him to write 5 LinkedIn posts in my voice. And now what I did is that I gave him some examples. So example number 1, 2, and 3. Now this forces the AI model to generate an output which is similar to these examples. And this is how you can actually make ChatGPT write in your language. Just see the output for yourself. And now you look at this. This is like an actual human writing, and it picked up the casual tone, the honesty, even the structure of how I write. Now let's come down to the third technique, that is force it to think deeply. Now most of us use ChatGPT like a Google search engine. We put quick questions and expect quick answers. But this is a very terrible approach for complex problems. So example of a bad prompt would be like, should I start a YouTube channel about AI? And you see, this is how AI is responding. It gives generic reasons with a yes and no man, we don't want that. Now watch what happened when we make it actually think. So now in this input, what I basically did is that I asked him to do a market research, then evaluate my advantages, and then the challenges present in my niche. And finally, based on all of that analysis, I asked him that what are the reasons of whether even I should actually start a YouTube channel. And now you see this output. Now that's what we're talking about. Look at this analysis. It actually thought each aspect considered pros and cons, and looked at the market. Now, in this technique, the key phrase is let's think step by step or break this down systematically, and it completely changes how the AI approaches the problem. Now, the technique number 4 is more constraints is equals to a better result. It is counterintuitive, but it is the truth. Now, actually, this one also broke my brain. I was like, wait, मैं अगर चैट जीपीटी को बहुत सारे कंस्ट्रेंट्स दे दूंगा तो इसका मतलब वो बहुत रिस्ट्रिक्टेड हो जाएगा एंड ही माइट नॉट प्रोड्यूस अ वेरी गुड आउटपुट एंड आई यूज्ड टू थिंक दैट वेग प्रॉम्प्ट इज द बेस्ट प्रॉम्प्ट बट इट वाज सो स्टूपिड ऑफ मी. सो लेट्स सपोज मेरा एक फिटनेस पेज है इंस्टाग्राम पे एंड अगर मेरे को इसके लिए कुछ आइडियाज चाहिए अबाउट माय कंटेंट, आई यूज्ड टू गो ऑन चैट जीपीटी एंड गिव इट एन इनपुट लाइक गिव मी 10 Instagram post ideas for my fitness page. Now you can see this generic garbage result. Workout motivation quotes, before and after transformation, 10 exercise for abs. Like man, everyone is posting this. How am I going to stand out? But now the better way to write this is I gave him the constraints, equipment, time, audience, my strength, goal, everything, because these constraints forces it to think in a particular direction. Now you can see the result. हर एक idea is tailored to my situation and the difference is just real. Equipment limitations, audience fears, everything that I gave it, it actually implemented it and gave me a very good output. So remember, more specific you are, the better output you will get, and the less specific you are, the more BS output you will get. So don't be afraid to add constraints because it stops the AI from hallucination. Let's go to my favorite technique, that is never accept the first output. So this is one of the biggest mistake that I was doing the entire time I was using ChatGPT, and I see everyone else is making it. What we do is that we get a result from ChatGPT and we accept it, no matter how good it is or no matter how bad it is. But this is stopping you from getting an actual gold result. It doesn't matter how good the output you are getting, you have to apply this technique. So to explain this technique, I'm going to use the output from the first technique. So this is the output that we got and it is pretty good. But now we can make it even better. So now we're going to give a prompt to GPT, that is analyze this output, find the mistakes in it and change it to make it even more good. And we are not going to give this input only one time, but 3 times. Now there we go. This is some insane output after giving the same input 3 times. So there you go. 5 techniques that took me a lot of time to figure out, but actually changed the entire game now. You have to understand that ChatGPT is a very powerful tool. So stop using it like a Google search engine and start using to its full potential to get the best possible output. Give it the context, show your style, make it think, be specific and iterate. Do these 5 things and you will get the best possible output. So what are you waiting for? Go right now, try these techniques and tell me in the comments 2 things. Did you know these techniques before? And second, how drastically it improved your results? And all set, I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.